Productions.
What's up, everyone? This is Che Wesley with Mountainside Productions, showing you how I saved a total of 17.46 pounds in my pack weight for 2025. Now, I do have to apologize because this video is long overdue. I know I promised it to you within a couple weeks after my last hiking video, but then I was sent out of town for my full-time job that I work during the day, so that really kind of hindered things. But I had an opportunity to pick up some of my gear last time I was in town before I came back out again, and I figured I would knock this video out for you guys before I head down to Grand Canyon for Memorial Day weekend with my father, because a lot of this gear I'm actually going to be giving to him so that he can start getting into backpacking. So I want to give it to you now while I still can, show you what you guys can save some weight on, but show you that you can still get some other gear that is still affordable and budget friendly, and it's just going to weigh a little bit more, but it will get you started. All right, everyone, so this is going to be my pack upgrades for 2025, and we're just going to get right into it. Here we got them laid right next to each other so that we can easily compare them, and we're going to be using this device here from Amazon, which is a 100-pound scale, pull scale. I think it cost me about $20. Generally used for like fishing and stuff, but you can use it for getting your pack weight as well. And yeah, so we're gonna get right into it. Here we go. All right, so starting off with the 65-liter mountaintop adventure that I got from Amazon about 4 years ago. This pack cost me about $66, $67 from Amazon. Unfortunately, it's no longer available on Amazon last I checked, but it was a great pack to begin getting back into backpacking after not doing it for several years. Has plenty of space. Just ignore the bird poop that got on it last time. For some reason, it stained it. No matter how much I washed it, it just stayed on there. But this pack has a nice big inner. If you like to keep everything separated in your own dry bags, there is a pocket here that is nice for easily accessing your sleeping bag and everything if you want to set up your tent real quick. And then it's got a brain as well, and it's just your typical top load backpack. Has a couple extra pockets, your typical water bottle pockets, and all that kind of stuff. I no longer use this pack because it's got bird poop all over it, and I just wanted to upgrade. So I tried a couple other packs that are in my videos. A Swiss Sports pack that I found. I believe I found that one at the Goodwill. And then there's a Kelty pack that I've used in the past as well that I got from my dad. And both those packs were decent packs as well, but they were really heavy packs. So right now we're going to compare the weight to the old pack that I had. The old Kelty and the old Swiss Sports, I would say, were about 3.5 to 4 pounds. We'll weigh this one. This one's a little bit lighter, I believe, and it's the one I used most often, so I believe it's a better comparison to my new pack that is the Flash Air 50 from REI, and I believe this thing is advertised to be under 2 pounds. So I have used it in one hike video already that you guys have seen, and it was very comfortable, but we will get more into detail later on that in the video because there are some things that I didn't like about it. But yeah, we'll keep moving on. All right, so this is the Mountaintop 65-liter adventure from Amazon, and we're about to pre-weigh it. We're about to weigh it right now to compare to the new pack that I have. So this one, as you can see, weighs just over 3.5 pounds, 3.61 pounds. So, I mean, kind of lightweight compared to some backpacks, but still on the heavier end, not ultralight. So I decided to upgrade, see if I could get a little bit more comfort with less weight. And this is what we ended up with. So we're going to compare that now to the Flash Air 50 from REI. They advertise this one to weigh just under 2 pounds. There is a bag liner in here, a thick construction trash bag liner that I use to make sure everything stays dry. So we got everything got the scale torn to 000, and we're just going to weigh this real quick with that in there. And it comes out to 2.20 pounds. And I will point out that there was a bag liner, same kind of construction bag type bag liner in the other pack as well. So that is an equal comparison, but this one is at 2.20. So we are going to start making a new chart. This is going to be mountain top, 65 liter, and it weighed 3.60 pounds with a bag liner in there. The new gear is Flash Air 50 REI, and with the bag liner in there, that one weighed 2.20 pounds. So the difference is 1.4 pounds difference already. We will continue moving on. All right, so moving on to the next item that I did upgrade in my pack is going to be the sleeping bag. So the one on the left-hand side is a Swiss Sport 0-degree synthetic insulated sleeping bag. And the one on the right is a Nemo Riff 15-degree 850 down sleeping bag. And we're going to compare the weight difference to those and get into some more details. All right, so over here we got on the left-hand side the Swiss Sport Alpine 0 to -5-degree sleeping bag, or 0 to 5 degrees. I'm not sure which one it is. Pretty sure 0 to 5 degrees is what it's rated as, but the actual comfort rating for this is for 20 to 40 degrees. So you got to always remember to check that whenever you are getting your sleeping bags. Again, on the right hand side, this is the Nemo Riff 15-degree 850 PF down sleeping bag, and it's significantly smaller because there's some significant differences between these bags. The one on the left hand side is synthetic insulation, so it's a little bit bulkier, but if it gets wet, it will still keep you warm. Again, that 0 to 5 degree rating isn't very accurate though. It's more like a 20 to 40 degree bag, meaning around 40 degrees, you're going to start to get cold. 20 degrees, you're going to stay alive, but you're not going to sleep comfortably at all. The 850 down bag is rated for 15 degrees. And being that it's 850 down, it's actually some pretty high rated down. I have slept in both these bags car camping, not necessarily backpacking in extreme weather, but car camping. And both of them have performed decently around the 25 to 30 degree range. I would say the Nemo Riff was actually a little bit warmer. So when I bought the Swiss Sport, I wasn't necessarily educated on the fact that that the ratings aren't necessarily correct when you're buying these bags, and that you have to look a little deeper into it. It also depends on the kind of shelter you have, the kind of sleeping pad you have, and all that stuff. So with all that being said, we're going to get right into it and do the weight comparison. So we're going to turn the scale on. We got zeros. Just tear it anyways, just because. And we're going to grab the bag. Looks like this one is weighing in at 4.4 bag, or looks like this one's weighing in at 4.4 pounds with the stuff sack. And they both do have their stuff sacks. And the Nemo Riff is weighing in at 2.58 pounds. So we'll call that 2.6. And that's with the stuff sack. So 4.4 and 2.6. All right, so coming back to our little chart, we got the Swiss Sport bag weighing in at 4.4 pounds. And then we have the Nemo Riff weighing in at 2.6, we called it. The difference there is going to be 2.2 pounds. I've already saved 3.6 pounds of weight in my new pack for 2025. All right, so moving on to the next items that I've upgraded, and actually I haven't upgraded these recently. These kind of go back and forth, and that's going to be my rain/snow protection, keep me nice and dry so I don't catch hypothermia or anything, and that's going to be my frog togs. The ones over here on the left, I primarily do not use them very often, but they used to be the ones that I used originally when I got back into backpacking. Now I just use them if I'm going to be out there in like snow and really, really cold weather. But otherwise, I stick to the regular, cheaper, thinner, not as durable frog togs these days because they are a little bit less in weight. So let's compare those weights. All right, so again, I do still use these when it's really cold out, being that I'm from Colorado. You know, I still like to backpack sometimes a little bit into the winter. I don't do extreme winter backpacking really, but when I know it's going to snow, I'll bring these. Otherwise, 90% of the time, these are the frog togs I will carry with me. They're significantly lighter, great for rain and everything else. So we're going to do the weight difference on those. The old frog togs. And these were actually a Christmas present for my daughter one year when I first got back into backpacking. So they do have a little bit of special semblance to me as well. But they are weighing in at 1.28 pounds. So we'll call that 1.3 pounds. Just round up a little bit. It's not going to make a difference. We're going to tear this again. I'm not a gram ultralighter. And the new frog togs, not really new, but the ones I use most often nowadays are 0.63. So almost a full pound, 0.65 it says. So almost a full pound lighter. So we'll go over to our chart. So we're back at our chart and we're going to say frog togs 1, and they were 1.3 pounds. And frog togs 2, 0.6 pounds. Just a half difference, which would make that 0.8 pounds in difference. So if we take 0.6 minus 1.3, that's going to put us at 0.7. 1.3 minus 1.6. 1.3 minus. Pull out the calculator. Alright, so 1.3. If I could do this, 1.3 minus 0.6 equals a 0.7 difference. Sometimes I doubt myself for no reason. Then, if we come over here, again, to our calculator, handy dandy reader, we're going to go 3.6 plus 0.7, and our difference is 4.3 pounds. On to the next item. All right, so far we've done the backpack, sleeping bags, and rain gear. Next, we're going to move on to tents, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff over here. I will, in full transparency, say that some of the items on the right-hand side actually are a little heavier, even though they're newer items, than the ones on the left-hand side. But only a couple of them, and so I kind of like think it doesn't really make a huge difference since I got a lot of weight savings everywhere else. But if I want to save some weight, I can always swap a couple of these items on the left-hand side out with a couple of the items on the right-hand side and lighten my pack even more. And we'll tell you about that a little bit more later in the video. Otherwise, we're going to get into tents next. So on the left-hand side, I have this Lost Nature tent, which I got from Amazon as well. And we'll get into the price here in just a second on that one. And then over here on the right-hand side, I upgraded to a trekking pole tent from Durston. It's the Durston Gear X-Mid Solid 1. And so, yeah, big differences in these tents. We'll go over it right now. I do apologize again that I'm working out of town, so I'm, here in the hotel room, not necessarily the best situation to shoot this video, but I needed to get it done. I promised it to you guys, so here we are. These tents have some significant differences. This tent is a Lost Nature budget tent from Amazon that you can still pick up for around $65 to $95 depending where you get it. It is a 1.5 person tent, and this tent is very heavy compared to this other tent, which is the Durston X-Mid Pro 1 Solid, and this is a trekking pole tent. So the first tent is actually a freestanding tent, meaning it uses poles in order to be standing. This one you have to have your trekking poles and some stakes in order to set it up. This one you just need your poles. You will need some stakes if you really want to strengthen the tent, but if you forgot them, you would still be able to set it up. Whereas this one, if you forget your stakes and you don't have your trekking poles, you are just SOL. But there is a huge weight difference in the two tents, and you just got to make sure you bring the proper gear for the second tent in order for it to work properly, save a lot of weight, and just be more comfortable, in my opinion. So we're going to get right into the weight savings, and then we'll do the price comparison on these as well, because there is a significant price comparison. So we're going to turn our scale on again, and we have all zeros. The Lost Nature tent that goes for $65 to $95 on Amazon weighs approximately 5.25 pounds, we'll call it. So 5.25 pounds. The Durston X-Mid Pro Solid, which is about a $350 tent, but this tent is made with amazing fabric. It's extremely light and just a great tent for backpacking. So we're going to tear the scale. Got our zeros again. And this one is weighing in at 2.5 pounds, we're going to call it. 2.47. 2.5 pounds. So almost a 3-pound difference right there. So coming back over to our chart, Lost Nature tent weighed 5.25 pounds, and our Durston X-Mid 1 weighed 2.5 pounds, making the difference. We'll pull up our calculator just so we are accurate. 5.25 pounds minus 2.5 pounds is 3.75 pounds. Crazy. No weight difference savings. I was thinking it was closer to 3 pounds. So technically, altogether, we have saved 4.3 pounds plus 3.75. We're already up to 8.05 pounds saved. What's up? I just wanted to take a second from the video and take a break, do the normal YouTuber thing, let you guys know that this video is sponsored by Mountainside Productions. No, I'm just kidding. It's not sponsored by anyone. But if you are a singer, rapper, or artist that likes to use acoustic style instrumentals, I do make beats as well, and you can check out the playlist on my page for many different types of acoustic and emotional style type instrumentals. And if you're just a content creator that wants music that's different from everyone else, you can take advantage of that as well. All of the beats on my page are linked to my BeatStars, and they are buy two get three free. You can also get an additional 20% off if you use code Mountainside20 at checkout. So be sure to check that out if you're a rapper, singer, artist, or content creator. Let's get back to the video. All right, moving on to the next item on our list. I actually don't have the old one that I used to carry for this. It's going to be the medical kit that I carry now, which I also got from Amazon, and it is significantly lighter than the medical kit I used to carry. This one was actually recommended, I believe, by Eric Hansen, maybe Dan Becker, but there are also some great backpacking enthusiasts that make videos on YouTube as well. So we're going to weigh this one. We got the scale here. We're going to turn it on. Hopefully this thing is heavy enough for the scale to pick up the weight. Oh yeah. So a little less than half a pound. We'll call it half a pound. And the one at Walmart, I want to say weighed about a pound and a half, 2 pounds. So significantly less weight savings there. I used to just carry way more than I ever really needed. You really don't need a lot on the trail, just the essentials, and only a few of the essentials each. So coming back over to our list, we have the Walmart med kit, which I'm going to say weighed 2 pounds. I mean, it was a pretty big kit. I don't know exactly. We're just estimating here. And then we got the Amazon 0.5 med kit. And that one weighed less than half a pound. We're going to say half a pound. So that is a pound and a half difference there, which brings us to 9.55 pounds that we have saved on our new 2025 backpacking backpack. Moving on to our next item on the list, which is going to be our air mattresses. And full disclosure on this one, I'm not sure if the new one actually is going to weigh less than the old one or not, but it's definitely more comfortable. This is the Pop Chews that I also got from Amazon. I believe it cost me around like $40. I'll put it on the screen for you guys to see. And then we have the Helix from REI and the Outdoor Vitals pillow. Because this one does have a pillow on it, I figure I'll include both of them together on this item. But yes, the Helix sleeping pad cost me about $160, plus the pillow was another $30, I believe. So you're talking about $190 compared to $40, possibly a little bit more weight. We're going to find out right now on this item. So with all that being said, there was a significant price difference in these two sleeping pad systems, but the comfort level of the REI Helix with the Outdoor Vitals pillow is just far superior. The R value will keep you much warmer, and it's not going to deflate on you. This one's no longer available anyways, but we're going to do our weight comparison difference. So we're going to turn on our scale, and we got it zeroed out here. And so we're going to do the Pop Chews first, which is coming in at 1.5 pounds there. 1.6 we'll call it. And then we got the REI Helix with the Outdoor Vitals pillow. I'll try to get a little bit better angle on this one. I turned it off, so we're going to turn it back on. Zeroed out just for you guys to see. And we're gonna hang this and try to hook this as well. Try to do this before it locks. And we got 1.73 pounds on that with the pillow. So actually, it's just a little bit heavier, about a quarter pound heavier. Not much of a difference at all. Big price difference, big comfort difference, not much of a weight difference. I think that's a win in my book because you're going to be sleeping much more comfortably with this versus that. So, coming back over to our list, we're going to do the pop juice was 1.5 pounds, and the Helix with the Outdoor Vitals pillow coming in at, we'll say, rounding up just a hair, 1.75 to make it an even quarter pound difference. Which is going to bring us to 9.3 pounds. Total savings so far, so we gained a little bit of weight there, but that's okay. Not a big deal at all. So moving on to the next item, and since we are gaining weight on the right side now, we might as well continue to do that with the next item, which is actually going to be our pot system. So with this pot system, it's just a Stanley pot from Walmart. And inside of here, we have our Coleman fuel with our BRS stove from Amazon. And this is the lightest stove you can find. But there are some downfalls to this stove that I'll go over with here in just a little bit. And then over here for our new stove system, which does weigh a little bit more, but it performs a little bit better, is the Fire Maple from Amazon. And it comes with a stove as well. And there is a sterno fuel container in this one. Fuel containers don't really make a difference though. But yeah, so we will get into the differences between these two cook systems right now. All right, so these two cook systems are completely different in their different ways. So this is just a Stanley pot that actually came with a couple bowls that have lids for it, that had a cutting board and some other things, and I just took that out of there. And then I added the VRF stove that you can get from Amazon for like $15. And this stove is a great stove for the weight. If you're gonna do a through hike or something, this is the lightest stove that you could possibly get. But I will say I have had these when you are cooking with it. Maybe it's just this pot, I'm not sure. But I have had one of these arms fold over and bend down on me before, so I had to replace it with this one. And that just made it very difficult for cooking and everything when I'm at camp. I had to make sure at that point to hold my pot the whole time. Also, if it's really windy or something, it's just going to take longer for your pot to warm up than with this Fire Maple system, which I'll get into here in just a second, because you don't have all the wind protection and things. But for the weight, you are going to save a ton of weight if you're going with a system like this. Just be sure to kind of watch it, not leave your pot on there too long, and not let these little arms get too hot to where it's going to melt over and bend on you like what happened to me. But otherwise, this is a great little stove system. And if I do want to do like a through hike, like the Continental Divide Trail or the Colorado Trail, which I plan on doing here in the next year or two, I'll probably take this system with me just because it is a little bit lighter. And I'll just be aware that these arms possibly bend over a little bit. But this thing compacts down nice and tight, and it's got a lid so you can pour your water out still and all that stuff. And it just packs together pretty small. I think it's actually a little bit, it's a little bit wider, but it's definitely more short in the depth of the pot. So you can get a little bit of space savings if you're packing, depending on how you're packing with this one. So that's the Stanley. Turn it again. This one is weighing in at 1.3 pounds with the stove, the fuel, and the pot. So not too bad at all. Turn that off. Now with this fire maple stove, there are some differences. This one's going to cost you about $60 on Amazon. It is a titanium pot, so it is super light compared to the stainless steel pot. It does have a plastic cover, but you can still drain it from in the little hole right there. It's got these uh, heat conductors, so it'll distribute the heat more evenly. It also has the heat go up into here so that it's not going to be bothered as much by the wind. Where you are going to have more weight is actually in the stove itself. It's this big plastic stove, but it does connect into the pot so that you can hold it all as one container with the fuel attached to it, and you can move everything around, which is nice. You don't have the same features with the Stanley, but this one does weigh just a little bit more than this other system. So we'll get into that right now. So we said the Stanley BRS stove system setup with the canister was 1.3 pounds. This one here, the Fire Maple system setup, weighs about 1.7 pounds, so almost a half a pound heavier. We're going to call it 0.4 pounds heavier. So it is a little bit heavier, but you are going to have more effective, more efficient fuel, and you're going to cook your dinners faster and everything else. So it is a little bit better, even though it does weigh a little bit more. So we're going to come back to our list here. So we have the Stanley BRS setup, which we said came in at 1.3 pounds, the fuel canister. And then we have the Fire Maple setup, which we said came in at 1.7 pounds, making a 0.4 pound difference. So we are now at 8.9 pounds total weight saved. But I believe from here on out, we start gaining in weight saved again instead of losing weight saved. And all in all, if I remember right, it comes out to close to 15 pounds that I saved in total. All right, so the next items on the list are actually going to be my electronics. So my headlamps and my power and all that kind of stuff. Over here on the left-hand side, we got just a regular Energizer headlamp, a 10,000 milliamp anchor, and a 20,000 milliamp anchor. And over here on the right-hand side, we have our air mattress pump. Since the pop juice was self-inflating or self-pumping with a little pumper on it, um, decided to get one of these. It also has a light on it, so might be gaining a little bit of weight here actually as well, because inside this bag I have a 10,000 milliamp power bank instead of carrying the two, which both of them weigh more than this one. I just carry this one. Seems to be plenty sufficient power for the trips I do right now. Although when I do the Colorado Trail and the Continental Divide Trail, I probably will carry both of those with me, just so I have more power since I'll be going more distance. And I also switched to the Kodiak night lamp from Walmart, which is significantly lighter. So this might actually kind of even out itself. I do also carry these, which not a lot of people talk about, but I will. It's a motion detector. So I've had bears show up at camp if you've seen some of my older videos. Um, and yeah, so basically this thing is a watch battery power, and I can just flip that down, turn this on, set this up in a place and near my tent, but far enough away where if I hear it go off, I can prepare if an animal like a bear or something is coming by. I will say with this device, don't put it in an area, or don't camp in an area if you're going to use a device like this, that has like tall grass or things that blow around easily, because this thing will go off from any little bit of motion in its view. It's crazy, but it does work. And just a little something I added to my pack. You don't have to carry it if you don't want to. But yeah, I up to a bear right outside of my tent one time, and I wish I would have had this so I could have been a little more prepared for that. So I normally did used to keep these items in a waterproof stuff sack as well, but I don't currently have anymore. But I would say this mesh bag weighs about the same, so we'll use that for comparison. But the old battery packs and headlamp weigh zeroed out 1.5 pounds. Oh, almost exactly there for a second. 1.54 pounds. Call it 1.55. Just to even numbers out. And then with the new smaller battery pack, but I have a pump in here, and I have the smaller headlamp, but I also have the motion detectors, which I do have 2 of them. So, probably will even out. So we're going to zero that out again. And we'll hook that there. And we actually have 1.03 pounds. So we're just going to call 1 pound, the other 1.55 pounds. So I actually have extra items, but saved some weight still on this one. Wasn't really sure. I thought it might even out. But I love seeing weight savings for sure. So coming back to our old electronics, they weighed 1.5 pounds. New electronics weighed exactly 1 pound. So we saved a half a pound here, bringing us to 9.4 pounds in total savings. All right, getting down to almost the end here, we're going to talk about my poop kit. Yes, I did upgrade my poop kit. So my old one used to be a really heavy trowel, stainless steel, and now I have a titanium one. The dirt saw deuce, I believe I got this from Amazon. I might have gotten it from REI. Can't really remember. Pretty sure I got this one from Walmart. Huge weight savings here as well. I mean, this thing basically weighs nothing. So I'm going to weigh it with the toilet paper. And then I guess I'll weigh this with the toilet paper as well, just to keep it even. But that's about how much toilet paper I'd bring for a 3-day trip. Just roll it up, put it inside of a bag, and that's that. All right, so I know everyone's excited to see how much weight savings I had on my upgraded poop kit. So here we go. The old poop kit weighs exactly half a pound, 0.51. And the new poop kit, service, back to zeros, weighs 0.12. So saved about another almost half a pound there. And this basically weighs nothing. So back to our list. Our old poop kit weighed half a pound, and our new poop kit weighs 0.1 pound. Saved 0.4 pounds, bringing our total savings to 9.8 pounds. And we're going to keep moving on. All right, so the last items that have changed in my new 2025 pack are my clothes. I just used to carry way too much clothes, to be honest. Not a whole lot has changed here. I used to carry a Walmart puffy jacket that weighed probably about twice what this jacket weighed. This is an old Domino's jacket that has synthetic insulation, so to keep me warm even if it gets wet, from when I used to work there. Super light, super comfortable. I mean, works great for me. Didn't have to buy a new one. So that with a beanie, and I'm usually pretty good in the winter. If I need other layers, I have my thermals with me, sun hoodie. You know, by the time I layer up with everything, I'm usually pretty fine. Like I said, I don't usually do extreme winter backpacking anyways. But yeah, so I have a pair of darn tough socks here, just some Wrangler hiking pants from Walmart, an orange synthetic shirt from Amazon, and then some synthetic thermals or liners, whatever you want to call them, sun hoodie, all that stuff in here. So basically, I used to carry a pair to hike in, a pair to sleep in, and a pair just in case the ones I hiked in got wet. And that like never really happened, or if I did, I just suffered through it. So I basically saved like a whole set of clothes and weight as well in my pack. So I guess what we'll do is we'll weigh one set by itself, and then we'll weigh these together. We'll add the one set by itself to these to know how much we saved. And that's how we'll figure that number out. I also used to carry a Holy Stone drone, which was 149 grams. This one's 135 grams, but with the Roku device on there, brings it up to 149 grams. So we even out there as well. A couple other accessories that I never used to carry is this wet towel, which is amazing. If you put this down your neck inside your shirt where your straps go, when you sweat and everything, it's going to cool you off. So it's amazing. And then I have this Bighorn Mountain Food. Basically keeps your food warm longer, so it'll rehydrate better. So these two things together probably weigh 0.3 of a pound. So we'll add that to the list, but not a huge deal there. And we'll weigh these clothes for sure and get the last bit of weight savings that we had. All right, so on the left side is just one set of clothes, which would be a sun hoodie, a shirt, and some pants, which is what I would carry extra on top of what I would wear, and a set of camp clothes. So we're going to weigh those, then we're going to weigh everything, and then we're going to add their first weight with the second weight to get the weight of what I used to carry versus what I carry now. Let's do this. So I'm going to turn it on. We have 1.6 pounds. All right. And then we're going to weigh this and add it together to get the difference of what I used to carry. So we're zeroed out again. 3.9. 3.85. Call it 3.9. All right, so coming back to our sheet, we're going to bust out our whole handy dandy calculator. So clearing it 3.85 plus 1.6 equals 5.45 pounds. So we're going to call that 5.5 pounds. Close. The old pack was 5.5 pounds. New pack, we do the 3.85 minus the 1.6. We're carrying 2.25 pounds now. So we are saving 3.25 pounds. Brings us to, just to be accurate, 9.8 plus 3.25, 13.5 pounds. Fix this. Of savings so far, which sounds about right, because we're going to come over here to ChatGPT.
GPT. I used to always carry 4 liters of water, which really isn't necessary in Colorado, especially. Plenty of water sources most of the time, and you should always be researching your hikes, anyways, so that you can know where your potential water sources are. And I'm also never really out long enough for it to be too big of a concern. But now I only carry 2 liters of water, so we'll ask GPT, what is the difference in weight between 2 liters of water and 4? 10 pounds, please. So I'm also saving an additional 4.41 pounds in water. So water, bringing our total to 17.46 pounds. Also still carry entirely too much food. It's never necessarily a bad thing. In case you get stuck out on trail for like another day or two, you might end up needing that. So I'm not even going to consider that into my equation. But I do carry a bear canister, so that doesn't change from pack to pack. So I'm not going to change that weight either. So basically, I ended up saving about 17.5 pounds by upgrading my kit from what I usually carry to what I carry now. And that's just an incredible amount of savings. It did cost quite a bit of money, but it's going to make my pack that much more easy to carry on trail, make me that much more comfortable, and everything is just going to be better. So it ends up working out great. And that concludes my total weight savings for my pack setup in 2025. I ended up saving a total of about 17.5 pounds. Just goes to show you that with a little bit more money, you can save a lot of weight, make yourself more comfortable on trail, making it for an all-around better experience. But do not let that stop you from getting started. There's plenty of pudgy gear that you can get started with on Amazon, just like I did, and then you can slowly upgrade from there. So with that being said, we'll see you on the trail.